This might actually be the best episode Fallout Season 2 has given us so far. And honestly, it's not even close. The ending alone cements it. But what really makes episode 5 hit so hard is what it does to the characters. Because at this point in the season, something wild is happening. Cooper is slowly turning into the monster we've known as the Ghoul, while the Ghoul is quietly rediscovering his humanity. Yeah, let that sink in. At the same time, Lucy is changing too. Life outside the vault is reshaping her, hardening her, and you can feel the Ghoul's influence rubbing off on her in ways that should probably scare us. By the time the episode ends with "You Always Hurt the One You Love" playing, it feels less like background music and more like a warning, especially when you think about the conversation Cooper is clearly heading toward with Barbara. That song doesn't just set the mood, it foreshadows a fracture that might never heal. So let's break it all down, because there's a lot going on here and it's all incredibly intentional. This is Fallout Season 2, Episode 5, Ending Explained. And yes, spoilers ahead. This episode is all about role reversal. Once upon a time, Cooper was the hero, a soldier on the Alaskan front, a symbol, a smiling face used to sell hope, patriotism, and the idea that Vault-Tec was saving the world. But here we see him heading to Vegas with Barbara, stepping deeper into Vault-Tec's inner circle, helping push cold fusion into the hands of Robert House, a man who wants to live forever while the rest of the world burns. And then comes the real test. Cooper is supposed to kill House, end the project, stop everything, and he can't do it. Saving millions sounds noble, but actually pulling the trigger on one man, Cooper isn't built for that. Not yet. He's not a killer, and that's the key difference between who he was and who he becomes. Because contrast that with the Ghoul in the present timeline, a man who kills casually, sometimes brutally, sometimes almost playfully, no hesitation, no second thoughts. This episode makes it painfully clear. The wasteland didn't just change Cooper, it finished a transformation that had already started, and that's where things get uncomfortable. Because the episode subtly suggests that Cooper may have crossed that line before the bombs ever fell. We see him help up the congresswoman protesting outside the defense contractor summit, after we already watched him attend events where politicians handed out medals and speeches like candy. Cooper is caught in the middle, torn between morality and convenience. And when he walks inside that building, he's not choosing neutrality, he's choosing a side. House later summons him to the penthouse, hiding behind a decoy like the puppet master he is. And then he drops a bomb of his own. The world was supposed to end on Cooper's daughter's birthday, the exact moment we witnessed in Season 1. But something changed. According to House's calculations, Cooper himself was the variable. His presence in Vegas shifted the timeline. A single human decision delayed the end of the world by a month. Let that irony sit for a second. Cooper believes House caused the apocalypse. House denies it, claims he was preparing to fight it, claims there's still someone unaccounted for. Another variable. And then he looks right at Cooper and suggests the unthinkable. Maybe he is the killer. Maybe he is the problem. That elevator scene is where everything clicks. Cooper, drunk, broken, flickering between his past self and the Ghoul he'll become. It's haunting, genuinely. At the exact moment the Ghoul is showing cracks of humanity, Cooper is losing his. Not through violence, but through hopelessness. Because every option leads to blood. Kill House, kill Hank, or do nothing and let the world die anyway. In his mind, the choice is already made. Riding the missile at the party isn't just spectacle, it's symbolism. He's committing to a direction without fully admitting it, choosing his wife and daughter, choosing love over principle, even if it means damning millions of people who believed the lie he helped sell. And when you cut back to the Ghoul, that look on his face isn't rage, it isn't cruelty, it's grief. So yeah. Did anyone else notice just how sad the Ghoul looked this episode? Because that might be the most terrifying part of all. Last week, for the very first time, we saw fear in the Ghoul's eyes. This week, it wasn't fear anymore. It was pure heartbreak. Because this episode rips the mask off what's really breaking him. He discovers that Barbara and Janie are still alive, frozen in cryosleep, and then Hank makes his offer. Betray Lucy, drag her back to the vault. Do that, and Hank promises to keep Barbara and Janie alive. Refuse, and their pods get shut off. That's not a deal. That's emotional blackmail. And the worst part, by the time this happens, the Ghoul has already started to care. About Lucy, about something other than survival. He's been clawing his way back toward humanity, and Lucy has been a huge part of that. Which makes this moment devastating, because just when he lets himself feel again, he's forced to destroy the one connection that made him human in the first place. When he tells Lucy, "I brought you here to bargain, this is the bargain." Yeah, there's truth there. But there's also pain. You can hear it, because this isn't just strategy anymore. This is a man hurting someone he genuinely doesn't want to hurt. And that pain, Lucy feels it too, because this episode makes it painfully clear that the wasteland is changing her fast. Lucy is realizing the truth the Vault never prepared her for. Out here, it's not about doing the right thing, it's about doing the thing that keeps you alive. And that realization hits twice. First, in the general store, she recognizes the man who murdered Sunny. He spots her, he plans to kill her. And Lucy reacts, not to execute him, not out of revenge, but to stop the situation, just like she used to. Non-lethal, controlled, except this time, she kills him. It wasn't the plan, it wasn't intentional, and the second it happens, you can see it hit her. When the customer walks in and asks, "Who are you?" Lucy pauses and says, "I don't know." And that line says everything. She doesn't recognize herself anymore. That theme comes back hard later in the episode when Hank, using the snake oil salesman, tracks down her and the Ghoul. After the Ghoul sedates her, Lucy fights it with everything she has. She forces herself awake. She attacks him. She knocks him through a window onto a spike. The old Lucy would never have done that, but the old Lucy wouldn't survive out here either. This is her becoming stronger, more dangerous, more independent, and honestly, more terrifying. Because she's learning the rules of the wasteland faster than anyone wanted her to. And then Hank shows up at the very end, which raises a huge question. Was that really him? Or was Lucy hallucinating? Is he about to take her to his underground bunker? Or is this just another layer of manipulation? The show leaves it deliberately unclear, and that uncertainty is doing a lot of work. Meanwhile, let's talk about Norm, because somehow in the middle of all this chaos, Fallout might be setting up a love story? Norm starts the season lost, directionless, no purpose, no connection. But now, with Claudia, there's something there, something real, and just as that bond starts to form, everything begins to fall apart. Bud's disciples make their way through the wasteland and into Vault-Tec HQ, where Liar is splashed across the walls, a blunt reminder of how deeply Vault-Tec betrayed everyone. Inside, Norm learns that Lucy was warned to return to the vault, that he was supposed to do the same, and instead of listening, he keeps going. That choice leads them into Barbara's office, where Norm uncovers something massive. A vault proposal labeled Forced Evolutionary Virus, a gene-altering program designed to supercharge organisms. Sound familiar? Because this could very well be Phase 2, the part of the plan Ronnie already knew about. And then everything blows up. Ronnie walks in just as Norm admits to Claudia that he was never Bud's true successor. That revelation alone could get him killed. Or worse, turned on by the very group he's been leading, banished, put on trial, left for dead. By the end of the episode, Norm is unconscious, and if Fallout has taught us anything, it's that waking up usually means consequences. So, overall, yeah, I honestly think this is the best episode of Season 2, and I know, I say that a lot, but this time, I mean it. The Cooper flashbacks continue to be the highlight for me. Watching him spiral, watching him realize there is no good choice, only different kinds of guilt. The way the episode cuts between past and present, Cooper and the Ghoul, regret and consequence. It's beautiful and brutal. That final sequence, with the score swelling as Cooper reflects on betraying Lucy while we're reminded how Vault-Tec and Robert House have been pulling his strings for decades. It hits hard. It shows that no matter how much time has passed, they never really let him go. The emotion the Ghoul shows here is genuinely heartbreaking. I never thought I'd feel this much sympathy for him, but here we are. Whether he's Cooper or the Ghoul, you can always see the war behind his eyes. Walton Goggins is absolutely destroying this role, and honestly, I didn't miss the Vault story at all this week. Kind of glad we stayed out of it. If this is the direction Season 2 is heading, I'm all in. So honestly, the less time we spend in the Vaults right now, the better. Just bring me back down there when Phase 2 of Bud's plan actually starts kicking off. Until then, I'm good, because at this point in the season, the Vault storyline just isn't pulling its weight compared to everything happening outside. And now that we're officially past the halfway mark, I think something else is becoming really clear. This show works better when it's binged. Season 1 dropping all at once made it feel immersive. Addictive, like you were living in the wasteland for a weekend. This weekly release, it's not bad, but it does break the spell a little. Every week, it feels like one storyline gets paused so another can move forward. Take this episode for example. Last week ended with Max and Thaddeus escaping the Brotherhood as a civil war erupted. Huge cliffhanger. And this week, nothing. Same thing with Vault 32 and 33. If this were bingeable, those gaps wouldn't feel so noticeable. But week to week, you definitely feel what's missing. That said, this was still a really strong episode. Walton Goggins absolutely crushed it again, and it can't be overstated how impressive his performance is, because he's not playing one character, he's playing two completely different versions of the same man decades apart, emotionally and morally. Cooper and the Ghoul feel distinct, yet connected in a way that's incredibly hard to pull off. Now we're heading into the final stretch. Episode 6 is next, and this is where the show needs to start tightening the screws. Stakes higher, consequences heavier, no more table setting. If they stick the landing, Season 2 could end up being something special. So yeah, that's Fallout Season 2, Episode 5, Ending Explained. If you want more breakdowns like this, check out the playlist linked below, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next. Let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.